Hello and welcome to Simply Mail Solutions' new webinar series on Azure updates and changes. Presenting myself, obviously Michael Fletcher. I am the Senior Infrastructure Engineer here at Simply Mail Solutions, and I would like to take you through the recent changes that have come about with Microsoft's rebranding. So here we go. So basically, first, before we go through that, I want to slightly take you through what SMS is, who we are, what we do. So SMS has been around since 2006, basically primarily supporting clients with cloud solutions. And we're solely cloud now, or unlike some other competitors of ourselves. And we have full support mechanisms which we offer from time to time when we can for free. Obviously, there's more advanced solutions that we put out there depending on your specific requirements. However, we have a wealth of expertise here at SMS, including one of the best security and infrastructure engineers available here, with myself included. So I'm going to take you through now exactly what Microsoft changes have been done. So WVD has now been revamped, rebranded, and completely changed to lead the way for Azure Virtual Desktop. Along this, it's not just a name rebrand. They've also incorporated some new features like full support for Active Directory and removing the requirements for domain services. They've now integrated file transfer support using the web client, whereas before it was using clipboarding through the RDS agent. They now support smart card authentication, which is similar to your security tokens that you would potentially use, and full support with MFA. That still continues to go with the solution. Windows multi-session now supports Endpoint Manager, so this is now a end-to-end security solution, which we're going to delve into a little bit deeper further on during the webinar, and some more features, including Start VM on Connect. There's a great cost-saving efficiency mechanism which will allow you to have shut down VMs. So during the cloud environment, you don't pay for stuff you're currently not utilizing. So Start VM on Connect is a new feature that they've put in there. So when your staff or your clients log on to your Windows Virtual Desktop, or Azure Virtual Desktop as it is now, the VMs will automatically start up, allowing you to be able to connect to the environment and not have that overrunning of virtual servers basically left empty and unused, which would obviously increase costs. Unfortunately, Microsoft are actually ending support for IE 11, so that will come out of the support mechanism. You may still be able to use it to some degree. However, you will probably start seeing a decrease in functionality if you are using that browser. Microsoft have also released performance updates for Microsoft Teams in Azure Virtual Desktop, which will allow obviously greater collaboration and support mechanisms across your business, including Teams conferencing, video calls, etc. There is also a new public review on single sign-on, which is at its early stage at the moment. So we will keep an eye on that one. And if this is of some interest for yourself, obviously you can get in contact with us and we can discuss the pros and cons in regards to enabling this feature. However, in its early adoptancy, we will obviously keep a close eye on this, as it could well be an extremely good feature to enable for new and pre-existing clients of Simply Mail Solutions. So we'll move on to the next slide, and I just want to go through exactly what it is AVD is, and why is it going to benefit your business. So AVD, as probably you are aware now, I'm currently working from my home. Not at a business office, in which case there's a lot of people still in this situation. So great advantage of using Azure Virtual Desktop to enable remote working, which is one of the key aspects. As well as enabling productivity across the board, there is limited cap, so you can grow your business as well as growing your environment without any limitations. Microsoft also allow us as developers to be able to utilize a plethora of different environments, from server technology and Windows 10 desktop technology, depending on what solution you require. And then there's obviously their integration with the 365 apps, which we believe is comparable in performance for what you would use locally on your endpoint machine. So utilizing all those technologies and having a seamless out-the-box solution every time you log on to Azure Virtual Desktop is one of the key enhancements. There's no degradation in service from the point where you would typically buy a laptop and over a course of a few years it slowly slow down. Azure Virtual Desktop manages its environment in a way which would keep the application and profile completely separate from the VM, allowing the VM to do what it needs to do, compute and resource manage, and keep parts of your environment separate, where you can embed that on top of your VM. Microsoft are also increasing security enhancements in regards to the endpoint manager integration that is currently coming in place now. So that would also incorporate your Intune environments, Defender for Endpoint, and other analytical and compliance technologies, which obviously put Azure Virtual Desktop in one of the leading solutions at this present moment in time. As I stipulated before, obviously in regards to the security and stuff like that, multi-factor authentication is something that is in place, and you can also utilize role-based access protections. A lot of our clients currently at the moment, as well as yourself, may be interested in centralizing your management of a solution, enabling users to log on remotely, and Azure Virtual Desktop is a very inexpensive way of being able to do that, in consideration to the more technical, heavy and very extremely costly solutions that you would typically find on premise with the RDS solutions or even Citrix. So we'll move on to the next screen there and just go a little bit more deep into the security side of things. So identity management is something you would typically get out the box from an Azure Virtual Desktop solution. This is coupled into now the new native way of pulling back into Azure, which will allow you to be able to utilize functions like analytical functions like SIEM, being able to manage your MFA, your sign-ins, who and who can't sign into the Windows Virtual Desktop, Azure Virtual Desktop environments, and go from including your endpoint security with Endpoint Manager, where you can then start limiting the risk on your malware and your ransomware capabilities, and having full insight from end to end in regards to the new security suite enablement that Microsoft have put in place. Obviously, with Azure Virtual Desktop being a remote cloud solution, remote management of that solution has been made more usable for businesses to be able to support clients that are logging in from all over the globe. And with other mechanisms in place where you can do image replication, you can then place that environment in the current local region where your clients or even staff are currently logging into. And with the increased data center opening of Azure, they're enabling more and more data centers, allowing that local regional access to become more prominent. So if there isn't a region in your current area, it most likely will be very shortly. We're going to move on now to the next stage and talk a little bit into profile management. So initially, when I started the conversation of Azure Virtual Desktop, I discussed about open box solutions. So the way that kind of works is that you would generally manage your profiles, your sort of user or caching or user presence separately from your virtual desktop. Your virtual desktop would be your VM, your compute, your memory, and your functions to be able to utilize your applications, and then your profiles will be set aside in what we call as a virtual hard disk or a virtual hard disk technology. And the way that kind of works is you would utilize Azure file services in order to have a individual disk for your staff, and every time they log on to whichever server they log on to, they would have a seamless experience where they can travel between, and not just a VM but different regions as well, utilizing their same profile. So it's irrespective of how they log on or where they log on. It's irrespective of what application they're logging in from, whether it be a Windows desktop itself, Android or Mac or iOS, the solution will always be the same. The look and feel will always be the same. And that obviously coincides with the fact that it's a roaming profile experience, and that typically allows you to be able to do that sort of experience in a way where you wouldn't necessarily need to then start reconfiguring your environment to specific people in specific regions and zones. So it transfers across the whole solution itself. That being said, as well, on top of your FS Logics, you get the capability of utilizing OneDrive, which also integrates into your Teams and SharePoint environments if you are currently using that. Again, emphasizing on that experience of collaboration and ability to be able to manage your data in a way where you feel secure, and being able to stop your staff from being limited in accessing the required information they need at the time. So we'll move on, and we'll just sort of go into shared ownership. So at the moment, moving into the cloud can be kind of daunting. There is this sort of diagram that I'd obviously like to show people that are of that opinion. Currently on premise, you would tend to have to look after the end-to-end stack, what you're trying to accomplish, right from hardware level upwards. And now Azure Virtual Desktop sort of removes some of that issue in regards to the infrastructure as a service, which you can potentially see that you won't necessarily need to look after the physical hardware anymore. And there's and AVD is sort of, I would say it was sort of separated out between the infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, because as part of the solution, Microsoft also give you web access control, certain diagnostics, a gateway broker, and the Azure SQL database backend. So that you get irrespective of whether you sort of go into this, so you don't need to specifically build out or get that purchased, as it would be configured as part of your Azure Virtual Desktop out the box, and they deal with that, and that becomes a lot less cost for yourself, because obviously you're not purchasing that side of the architecture. So if we would slightly go on, I would like to delve a little bit deeper into the next aspect, basically how SMS fits into this sort of solution. So obviously, as I said at the start of the slide, we have a plethora of experience in regards to cloud solutions, AVD being one of them, and we are here to support you guys basically make that transition if there is something of interest for yourself. We would help you aid in architecture and design and build, and facilitate any sort of questions that you've currently got in order to make that transition. We obviously have a fully backed UK help desk, which is quite rare in some cases, and we obviously work remotely, as you can probably tell. We're always here to help. We've been cloud providers for a long time now, so if this is of any interest to you, or Azure or any other mechanisms or technical expertise that you potentially may need in regards to security enhancement in Tune or Defender or anything in regards to the Azure stack, obviously get in contact with our sales team. The information is currently on the screen to you now. I think our sales team would be more than happy to take your call, ask any questions, and if you are wanting a conference with one of our Azure engineers or one of our Azure consultancies to go over and scope your current environment to see whether we can enable this for you or enable your migration, obviously, again, get in contact with us and we'll be happy to help. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.